I remember the very first time I ever hurt myself. My leg was basically broken. And my coach immediately said to me, "You better not cry, walk it off." And I was thinking to myself, you would never say that to a young woman.
I was raised in an Asian household, and masculinity is important for young boys, and we're encouraged to not do certain things, not behave certain ways.
You know, I grew up in the South, in the Midwest, and those are the type of places where men are definitely trained to not feel their emotions, not let on when they're sad, not let on when they're very happy.
I have this like inner monologue that I go through like every single day about like, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that, you need to eat better, you need to be a better boyfriend, a better son.
I remember when I was younger, I used to try to pit myself against more effeminate gay men. It was as if I felt as if like, look, I'm not that gay guy.
I love to cook, and I love to cook and bake from a really young age, but that was discouraged because that's not something that boys do. And I distinctly remember a time when I was crossing my legs whilst watching TV, and my dad just kind of patted my leg and was like, "Don't sit like that, boys, don't sit like that."
Those, destructive, heterosexual, toxic masculine norms were killing me.
I think vulnerability is something that I take for granted. I consider myself a pretty vulnerable person with some things, and then I'm very guarded with others.
It's exciting to be a man right now because our eyes are being awoken to the fact that we don't have to be a certain way. We don't have to act the way that our grandfathers or the way cultures before told us that we have to act.
I mean, I had this conversation with AJ when we were at, in a Lacoste fitting room with Tan, where I sort of talked about my sexuality. And it's not something that I've ever really discussed, that I've always been really private about. But I've always considered myself, as I've been quoted as saying, like more along the spectrum of things, but felt weird about saying it because the word bisexual didn't seem to really fit, or I didn't feel fully comfortable with it. But I'm learning just to sort of be confident in how I feel, and I don't have to have a title for who I am or how I identify.
I really tried my whole life to act a certain way, to behave a certain way, so I wasn't too offensive to certain people. It's important to just do what makes me feel comfortable, what makes me feel happy. I shouldn't have to do things to make other people feel comfortable.
There's still a level of insecurity about being in touch with oneself, and insecurity about allowing one to be in touch with their emotions.
I've seen a therapist on and off since I was 18, and I don't know how I would be able to exist without one.
We've sort of been taught this narrative that your job is to claw your way to the top by any means necessary. Who cares who you hurt on the way up? Those people that we have hurt on the way are stepping up and saying, enough, men. The Time's Up movement is a clear indication of that.
I think that many men feel like they have to behave a certain way, they have to act like men.
So many men have felt as if I could do whatever because I have this sort of masculine privilege, and culture has told me that I am better than you fill in the blank.
You don't have to behave that way. That's something that's old-fashioned. It's out of date, and it's a way to keep yourself really unhappy and to make sure that the people around you are really unhappy. That's it. That's all.